G'day viewers, there's news from Train Simulator, and you might need a stiff drink. Nah, just kidding you, it's good news. Anyway, I thought I'd read it to you while we sit here and watch Jamaica. On the LIRR, if you don't have it, in New York. I'm going to be a little bit rude because I need to look at another screen over here while you watch what's going on here in Jamaica. This is a new developer update for Train Simulator Classic. And it's from a bloke named Steve. Steve is the senior producer for Train Simulator. And he's recently taken up the role, but he's worked at Dovetail for 8 years. His passion and involvement in Train Simulator goes right back to the very beginning of the software. He came aboard on the first day that Rail Simulator hit the market. That means his passion doesn't go back to the start of the software, because the start of the software is MSTS 2001. Just saying. But anyway, that's okay. Start of the modern career of the software, perhaps. And he goes on to say that he spent much of his time in the software making his own things and modding the published content to meet his own expectations in how that content should work. Sounds familiar. The thing he loves the most about Train Simulator is the freedom it gives you to be creative, to tinker and make things your own, to collect and build something you can be truly proud of. No other piece of software gives you that level of customization, or to build a collection that can satisfy whatever you might want to be in for the mood that day. That is fairly true. I mean, Train Sim World's getting there on the collection front, but it's not there on the editor front as yet. You can't just go out and build yourself a route or a scenario. Well, you can build scenarios, but you can't build proper scenarios, if you know what I mean. You can't have your programming and your scripting and everything else. You can with the Classic. So, it goes on to say what the vision is for Train Simulator Classic. Now, there's been a lot of people chatting about that it's dead, and they've been saying that for years since Train Sim World 3 came out, and it's never been true, and it's not true now. Anyway, the ecosystem is much more than the content Dovetail makes. It's about the contributions of the entire community, those who work to meet or exceed the expectations with some of the most advanced add-ons ever made for Train Simulator by developers such as Armstrong Powerhouse, Chris Trains, Just Trains, ATS, Aerosoft, High Iron Simulation, just a few of the big names contributing to the system. I'd like to add some other names to that, like Train Simulation New Zealand. They do an awesome job on the stuff they're doing. And there's so many little content creators out there like that team that are really passionate, love to put out content. There's also people like Mike, Smokebox Mike. Many people will be familiar with him. Another small content creator who puts out some amazing things that drives this engine further than it could possibly go. It's a bit stuttery watching this today, I'm just noticing. I had a Windows update and seems to have done some bad things. We'll sort that out later. But anyway, so Steve feels that Train Simulator's strength is that it provides a unique platform to bring out the creativity in anyone who has an interest in trains or railroads, whether you're creating scenarios, routes or trains, or just tinkering and modifying something else that someone else has created. No matter who you are or what you do, everything that you create for Train Simulator is all about contribution to the wider ecosystem, and it's that ecosystem that is Train Simulator's legacy and will continue onward for as long as there are those out there that want to play and enjoy the work that everyone has put in. This is true. The workshop for this thing on Steam is massive. There is so much content there, but outside the workshop, there's probably between 6 and 10 third-party sites where there's people who are publishing their own content or people who are publishing collections of content. So people subscribe and set things up, things like UKTS, Railroad America, there's various others like that, where you can get content that doesn't come through Steam. So he wants to look and tell us what kind of investment they're making into the core technology as they move into TS's future. They want a stable and intelligent core. Perhaps the most important aspect to the core software is to ensure it's stable. Train Simulator is a highly advanced and complex piece of software. It was cutting edge at the time it was made, which was about 20 years ago. Over the years, we have patched and upgraded things, added new things along the way, and used it as a testing platform for some experimental things. Yeah, some of the TSW functionality was tested out in TS on the way to making TSW. Some of the TS stuff still survives in TSW. I think rain on the windscreen's one of those. It's all those things that they want to tidy up and clean out. Anything that is no longer being used is going to be removed, and in so doing it will lead to a much cleaner, leaner, robust code and consequently become much more stable. That would be good. We all have that out of memory. And just saying, we'll get later in the article, for those people who are saying you need more RAM, no you don't, it's never been out of memory. Well, maybe sometimes it is, but it's never out of memory. Anyway. An area we're looking to improve is how the software communicates with you, the player, when things aren't going so well. Right now, the software is only capable of showing one error message, irrespective of the problem you're seeing. See what I mean? It says out of memory, even when it's not. We'll be building in more granularity to the user messaging system, so it will give you better contextual information on what's gone wrong instead of just the same message over and over again. Over time, we'll extend this to include even more intelligent functions and messages that will enable you to understand more about what's going on under the hood without having to deep dive into logmate logs. Been there. Creating a scenario, sometimes it just gets you goat. But you have to try to produce good stuff. They're already well underway with this part of the work and are making good progress. There's still a long way to go, but our plan is to deliver phased updates to you when you're ready, with the first update planned to you to come in the coming months. We'll continue to keep you informed on progress and give you details on what you can expect to get involved. Good stuff. On the topic of performance and optimization. As part of their thinking, they're looking to improve performance on modern PCs. Train Simulator was built for PCs of the early 2000s. See what I mean? 20 years. But things have moved on from there quite substantially, no kidding. And it wasn't something anyone could have predicted at the time. Probably could, 3DFX, Voodoo's gone into the GeForce. You probably could have predicted it, but that's okay. Our primary aim is to have Train Simulator be capable of using whatever resources your PC has available. This will give Train Simulator a new lease of life, giving more performance overhead, enabling more complex content and stress-free play on modern computers. Some of this work will be about optimizing how the software handles certain tasks, such as your collection of locos, routes, scenarios, and workshop content. Some of it is about changing how the software does things, such as important processes which are vital to how the software operates, like streaming in a route or loading scripts. Yeah, there's some big changes they could make there. So TSC loads everything in the direction you're looking, whether you can see it or not. That's what hurts the Midland line in New Zealand, because there's all these valleys that you traverse through, and if you look along the valley, you can see for kilometres, and it drops the frame rate down to nearly zero. Slideshow, even on my computer. But anyway, that would be really good to fix that, Steve. Just saying. As Train Simulator continues to grow and expand, the need for it to be able to handle demands you place on it with large collections of content and support for the substantial memory loads that are placed on it will be particularly important. So with that in mind, we're investigating the possibility of retiring the 32-bit engine entirely and going full 64-bit. Yay! This will include all the tools that you and we use to make content. Yay! Get rid of the old crap. Won't be long before Windows won't even allow 32-bit apps. In fact, I think that's coming soon. Is it next year? Might be next year. Anyway. Enhanced content management. One area that Train Simulator doesn't handle so well is your collection. Whilst it does a good job of loading everything you have installed, it doesn't give you any control over it to curate your own content library. So we want to build you a set of tools that give you the power to manage your own collection. Whether that means removing content you're never going to play with, or simply organise your collection into categories that makes it easier for you to find the content you love playing with the most. It's your collection, so we think it's important you should be able to manage it in the way you want to, and with large collections being able to organise it is paramount. Well, they're right, there are tools. There's things like TS Tools, there's the old TS Utility. They're kind of janky, kind of crap. So yeah, having some actual modern UI thinking and some modern programming thinking in those tools would be excellent. New user interface. As part of the process to improve content handling and improve overall performance, we're also looking at overhauling the UI. Currently, we use Autodesk Scaleform to handle the UI. Unfortunately, this is a bit long in the tooth these days because of its reliance on Shockwave. It isn't going to be suitable for our longer term aim of putting the control over your collection in your hands. Scaleform was also retired many years ago by Autodesk, so we are no longer able to keep this updated with newer versions. So we will be looking to embrace a modern web-oriented user interface, which will better integrate with Steam and our own websites, but more importantly, enable them to develop the tools you need to manage your collections the way you want to. That sounds good. Steve mentions that the best thing about Train Simulator is its flexibility and customization. With a powerful new user interface, it will enable you to do much more than just manage your collection. It will include, for those with the necessary abilities, the option to customize the interface for your own purposes. Use your own background music, as well as choose from a selection of interface graphic and color styles that suit you, or better yet, enable you to make your own and share them with your friends in the community. At the time of writing, there's still a lot to investigate in this area, so this is likely to be a longer term goal. We may need to take this step by step, expanding the capabilities as they go. The next thing they're talking about is the DirectX core version. DirectX has been discussed heavily over the last few years based on the research. This may not be something that can be done easily, as it may impact your entire collection of content, as it will fundamentally change not just how content works, but how it is made. This will naturally complicate things for everyone, so they need to be careful. That said, they're looking to implement a DirectX 9 to DirectX 12 translation facility that will essentially give them DirectX 12 support in Train Simulator. At this stage, we don't know what benefits that will give us in Train Simulator until we try, but we're hoping you'll join testing it becomes available. The benefits will be, it'll keep working, because DirectX 9 is going to go away. We will see how the translation works as we go. May require some alternative solutions that need to be evaluated step by step. You know, I wouldn't be that concerned if, well, hived off some of the old stuff, kept the more modern stuff. So maybe if you drew a line in the sand, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you could keep the old version alive and on life support just to run the old stuff and bring the new stuff forwards. Here's an idea. Their plans that they've talked about so far are just the tip of the iceberg. There's no shortage of ideas on how they can improve and further develop Train Simulator. They've read and continue to read the suggestions that come in from the people like yourselves, and they'll continue to look at the noteworthy ideas. So keep them coming on the forums. I'll pop a link in. Steve highlights that they're only just beginning the journey to further develop the software, so there will be things they need to tweak and adjust as they go. Ideas that they've expressed so far might not go ahead or may need extra time to fully realise. So the plan will be fluid. They have no idea what challenges they're going to run into, and they'll keep us updated on what, if any, changes there are and the reasons for them. As mentioned earlier, this work has already started and is well underway, with the first update planned in the coming months. Well, it's great news that this little beast is going to survive. That's really good, because we all know when Train Sim World came out, it was supposed to replace Train Simulator. It was Train Sim 2 after all. But it never did, and it probably won't actually live up to the promise of replacing it completely. So having the two running in parallel is a really good idea. Continuing the development on both is a really good idea. And yeah, looking forward. Let's see what happens. If you've got any thoughts or comments, chuck them down below, and I will get to them and respond. And I'm more than happy to carry stuff in via the ambassador channels as well. So that's it for now. I hope whatever you celebrate at this time of year, you have a great one, and that uncle that always screws up the day gets lost on the way to your house. Alrighty, have fun folks. See you later.